I am Gianpiero Lotito. I am the founder and the CEO of FacilityLive. FacilityLive is an Italian startup that born in 2010, developing a next generation search engine that drive a platform to manage information with a new paradigm in front of the Google-like technologies. For this reason, we granted patents in 44 countries around the world, and we raised 30 million euros by private Italian capital. That is a world record, because without VCs, without fund, without public money, without banks, demonstrating that it's possible to have different ways and different models in Europe to develop startups, scale-ups, and to develop new kind of adventure. Because one thing that was emerging from the previous speech, is that we need also to have European models to scale up, because replicating the models, the American models in Europe, we for sure will fail. Startup is not a problem of the age of the founder, as you can see, no?
Oh, that's what I said.
Yeah, I know. But there is a reason. There are two main kind of startups. Startups that born from one great idea. And this kind of startups can born also from a guy of 25, 30 years. But there are startups that comes from long experience. And this can come only if you have this kind of experience on your back. This is important because this kind of startup is the startup that probably can give platform to Europe, and is the kind of a startup that impact more in the manufacturing industry. This is important because in this age there is another role that startup can play, that is to be the evangelist of the digital culture in the legacy and manufacturing industry. It is important because for many people, digital means technical culture. So you employ young guys, you acquire a startup, and you solve the problem to pass to go to the next generation. It's not so, because the digital culture impact in any aspect of the life of an enterprise. So the startup generation, the scale-up generation, has a role that is wider and more important than simply having new kind of companies. In Europe, in technology, we have two main layers that are one, transformational, where we have e-commerce application, web app mobile, public services, but this layer need another layer, that is the layer of platforms. Because without platforms, you can operate this kind of digital adventures. And the platforms are elsewhere. Software platforms are in US, hardware platforms are in Far East. The problem is that where are platforms, there is the real innovation. Where there are no platform, you have followers. And in Europe, the problem and the risk is to remain and to be in the future followers if we don't develop a generation of European platforms. There are a lot of other things that is useful to discuss, but this is not a conference, it's a breakfast. So I mention only another example of huge problem that we must address in the future, that is the IP protection. Because intellectual property is undervalued many times also from the regulators, because, for example, for a startup, it's very difficult to access to European projects. Not only for a dimension issue, but also because in many cases you must share your IP. And the sharing of intellectual property for a real innovative company, for a disruptive company, is a problem. So many times we prefer to not participate to tenders or to be simply a supplier because of sharing of intellectual property. And this is another huge problem of the future. Thank you.